We're back today with another race in FFRL, Fast Fridays Racing League, and today we've got the second round of the season then, our second race in Tier 1 and also on the 2026 DLC, and it is the Monaco Grand Prix then today. Our first league race at Monaco for a very long time. I'm trying to think back to when it was. It might well have been maybe 2020 or 2021, one of those games. I can't remember now, but yeah, it's been a long time. And as I said last week, it's not a surprise really that leagues tend to avoid it because obviously a very narrow circuit, hard to overtake, and yeah, it can very often lead to carnage. So yeah, this is a very rare occurrence in a Monaco League race, but yeah, it's a track that it's nice to drive even if it's not particularly good to race on. So yeah, I was still looking forward to this one then. Coming in off the back of a surprise podium then last time out in Catalonia, and we'll see then what we can do today. This looks like a pretty terrible lap, but it was actually my best lap, which was surprising because I didn't even start it with a full battery because I'd already gone for one run, and then I was sort of against the clock to get round again, so I couldn't actually fully recharge the battery. But nonetheless, even despite hitting the wall coming out of the swimming pool section, that was still our best time of the session then at 11.5. Sana Tatos then once again on pole position by a mile then from Alf in second there, and then Brock in third. And as you can see, not many people wanted to do Monaco then, only 11 drivers this week, so we could potentially be on for another strong result then if we keep out of the barriers. In terms of strategy, we're going to start on the hard tyres and then go over to the mediums later on. The game doesn't think a two stop's possible, but it is. So no, well, it doesn't think a one stop's possible, sorry, but it is, so that's what we're going to try and do. Going to around about lap 22 and then putting the mediums on to the end. So we'll be a little bit out of sync maybe with a few cars. A lot of people have gone for mediums, but hopefully it'll come back to us later on then. And we're quite near the back anyway, so it's not like getting undercut is a big threat for us then. As I actually messed up the parking end for the first time, I think, on this game. Well, certainly in this league anyway, so going to be a little bit compromised on this start then, as we've got the 5 red lights. And we are underway then for the Monaco Grand Prix. And unsurprisingly then, it's a pretty bad start on these hard tyres. And straight away then Oaks is going to be running outside then and overtakes then up into 7th place, as it was all quite neat and tidy then. Obviously only 11 cars, so yeah, only half of what there could have potentially been, but yep, still very neat and tidy then, as yeah, Oaks has made a great start. I think he's passed Gamer plays then as well, going through his first few corners, and yeah, we're just no opportunities so far to pass, so yeah, we're just sat here then in 8th place for the time being, as we see then once again the replay of the start, and we just did not get away. Yeah, we're just under threat straight away. A little bit of bumping and barging, but nothing really too major, and yeah, everyone got through quite well. We're pretty much unscathed then, it looked like. But there was actually an incident further round that we're going to see now then. Dave, I think it is, in the Mercedes there, I think got a penalty from cutting the corner and then just decided that, yep, didn't fancy this Monaco race and put it in the barriers then. So that brought up a brief VSC, but yeah, it didn't really affect anything in terms of strategies or anything. So yeah, things went back to green quite quickly after that. And yeah, we're still then in 8th place on lap 4. I think Gamer had a contact with the barrier at this point because I think he had damage, so yeah, we were really starting to put the pressure here then on the Ferrari driver. Once again then finding ourselves on the same bit of track, which, as I mentioned last week, is funny because we didn't really race each other at all last season. But for someone who was racing then is Fleet then, who makes the move into Mirabeau, and yeah, crashed in qualifying, so is on a bit of a recovery drive here, and yeah, is making good progress and up into 8th place. Yeah, it's a nice move there, sort of ambush just a bit into Mirabeau, and yeah, we just had to give some space there because there was no point sort of tripping over faster driver at that point. As we see then up in front, another bit of contact there for Gamer, who actually spun and did ghost there, and looking back I probably could have gone for that there, but it was just very much my instinct there when I saw a car spinning to slow down. But yeah, we maybe could have had the position there, but no, it wasn't to be on that occasion then. I'm just going to have to sit behind for the time being then and see if any kind of opportunity presents itself. Zox is in them very early, so I think must have picked up some more damage there, because I think they were already going quite slow, and they're in again now then. Well, they're in now then to pit, so I think it must have been the damage done that early on in the race. As yeah, we seem to have a lot more pace in game with them, so I think that front wing damage then is very much affecting them at this point. And yeah, there's just no way through for us though. We're struggling to see, well, find a good gap here then. He's covered that line into Mirabeau, so yeah, we can't repeat what was done to us before then. And yeah, we're just going to have to sit behind them for the time being, because yeah, there's no way through at this point, despite the fact that we clearly do have more pace at this point then, because obviously we don't have any damage or anything. But yeah, these hard tyres though, they weren't particularly great. I mean, the tyre wear wasn't that bad on them, but yeah, just not very much grip, and yeah, it was very much a case of just trying to look after these and get them as far as possible for the most of this early stint. As the VSC comes out then, because Oaks is out of the race now then, so we're down to just 9 cars so at this stage then, and we're, yeah, well, there is ninth place just behind us then, Hobo, who is following us all the way then on this same strategy on the hard tyres, so that's very much who we're racing at the moment, as Gamer decides to pit then with that VSC, and so does Cronin up in front as well. So yeah, that'll be a long way to go then if they do one stop from there, but I guess it may well just be possible. Obviously, you know, overtaking so difficult around this track that it could work. And then on lap 12 we have McLarity, and then also quite early there, and that was a green flag stop as well there, so a bit surprising. Not sure if that was for damage, but that's another place going for us then. And then Brock is in on lap 14, so yeah, another fairly early stop then, although not too early I guess for medium tyres to go to hards, but yeah, nonetheless it puts us up into 4th, and as I mentioned, we're going to try and go to around about lap 22, so we will get quite a nice tyre offset here then in terms of, you know, grip towards the end, but obviously it's just going to be a case of, you know, having some good pace still during this stint and trying to keep some of these faster guys behind us then, which is what we don't do then, because we go a little bit deeper into turn 1, and we could have capitalised there because Fleet was in the wall, but no, we went wide ourselves, and that allowed Cronin to go through and up into 2nd, so yeah, we stay in 3rd for the time being. I think Alf came into the pits on that lap as well, and by lap 21 I was already caught right up to us here, so yeah, these guys who have already pitted yeah, have just got so much more pace then, and I mean, it would be quite beneficial for us to try and slow them down a bit, because as I mentioned, we could come back to them later on the medium tyres, so yeah, it doesn't really do us much harm to try and hold on to this position for the time being, and you know, just try and halt their progress a little bit of, you know, all these cars behind. Obviously we couldn't do that with Cronin because yeah, we made that mistake, and well, we're side by side in the tunnel there with Alf, who I think understeered a little bit into us there, because I think we definitely left enough space, but I think there's just a little bit of a bump on the inside, and then in fact coming out of the New Val chicane we light up the rear tyres then. We really were struggling a lot at this point. These tyres were pretty much finished, and yeah, Alf is going to go through anyway, and we were going to pit on the end of this lap anyway, but yeah, we've just lost the position then a few corners before coming in. But yeah, it's not been a bad stint then all in all. So yeah, we will now be able to push a bit more on the medium tyres. And it's still quite a long way to 17 laps, but you know, we will have more pace, so as long as we sort of manage, you know, manage the tyres properly, then we should still catch up to those up in front of us. And we're out then into 7th position, so we're still pretty good compared to where we started. Game Plays has had a bit of a difficult afternoon then, it looks like, and we're saying nearly a minute behind, but obviously that's without the pit stop we've just had, so it's going to be around about 30 or 40 seconds then afterwards, but you know, we're still comfortably ahead there, and Hobo is now out of the race as well, so yeah, it's just these 8 cars then, so there's really not really much else place for us to go then other than forwards at this point, so we may as well just, you know, see how things play out. Surprisingly there, McLarity retired in the pits, which is very unusual because, you know, like a comfortable top 7 was still available there. I was very surprised at some of the people who decided they just didn't want to finish this race because there were just 3 points on the table that they just decided not to take. But I guess some of them just really hated driving around Monaco that much. But nonetheless, then it puts us up into 6th place then, and we are really catching up now into the back of Brock and also Alf, who was actually I think just disconnected there. Yeah, so that's very unlucky for them, and that is another place game for us then. And there's only now 6 people still left in this race then, as we have just over 6 laps to go here, and yeah, we're really catching up now. Well, we've really closed in on Brock, who we've had 8 laps newer tyres than, and then Cronin, who had like 5 laps older tyres than Brock, so it's really all come together then. And once again, we're in a fight for another podium position here then. And out of turn 1, we get a great run on Brock, who also has a little bit of front wing damage there as well, so we should have some good grip here around the outside of Mastonay. And we're side by side then, we'll get the inside line for Casino Square, and we are through then and up into 4th position. And yeah, it was quite a crucial overtake there then. We nearly threw it away in fact, going deep into Mirabeau, trying to watch out behind us to see if he was going to come back at us, and yeah, nearly put it in the wall, but just about got away with it. And yeah, now we can go after Cronin, who has much older tyres than us now then, so we should hopefully have a chance in these final 5 laps, as we're getting close to him on the brakes into New chicane, but he just taps the inside wall there and is out of the race. And we were very lucky there to not pick up any damage at all, because we certainly drove into the back of the Audi there. And I was also surprised no safety car as well, because we're still a fair few laps away from the checkered flag. But no, it's all fallen into place quite nicely for us then, and we're up somehow then back on to yet another podium. As you see, the initial move then from Brock, and this was a great bit of racing then. I mean, Brock with front wing damage then, and you know, still made sure to leave a space there, you know, didn't drift wide into us or anything there. So yeah, it was some really nice driving there. And then yeah, it was a big old whack we had on the front wing against the Audi, but somehow got away with it. And yeah, found ourselves in 3rd place. But I mean, there was yet another twist in this race, because yeah, there was no rain on the forecast, but as you can see, it was very much raining then. Zanatatos then has already taken the victory, so yeah, it was an absolutely dominant drive from them then, really you know, putting to bed any kind of demons from their previous race. Obviously they lost it in the steward's room, but yeah, no one's going to be taking this win away from them then. An absolutely dominant drive, and yeah, it's been a great recovery drive then from Philippe, who crashed in qualifying and started last, and yeah, is going to be comfortably in 2nd position. So, and also with the accident at turn 1 as well, which we can't forget. So yeah, well, a double recovery drive then, I guess, to 2nd place for them. For us though, once again then, we're going to be coming around the final corner here, and it's once again going to be 3rd place then as we cross the line. 2 podiums to start our time in Tier 1, which, yeah, certainly did not expect going into this season. I mean, didn't even expect 1 podium, never mind 2 in the first 2 races, but yeah, obviously it's all worked out quite nicely then. Not many people turned up, not many people decided to finish the race, so that certainly played a big part. But yeah, very happy to be on the podium once again. As I mentioned, yeah, I don't think this result's going to be changing then. Zanatatos then dominating from start to finish, and yeah, no incidents. Yeah, Philippe 2nd and us in 3rd. Now, the race results seem to be a bit delayed in being published this week, so you might just be seeing the in-game results on screen, but to my knowledge there haven't been any stewards inquiries this week, and even if there are, then I think I'm the only one who could have a penalty that could affect the positions, and to my knowledge I'm not under investigation for anything, so I'm pretty sure the results are just as they were in the race then, with Zanatatos taking the win then from Philippe, and then me, Brock and Gamer Plays, the only 5 finishers. Zanatatos so dominant at the front that he even had time to pit near the end to get the fastest lap point as well, and still win by over half a minute there. What that does mean then in the standings is that he takes over the lead of the championship, Brock will still be second on 38 points, and also on 38 points will be me then. But yeah, with count back, Brock will be ahead, I'm pretty sure. The non-attendance for Tolly will drop him down to 4th, and Fleep will be straight up to 5th then. And with no Red Bull finishing the race, and both Cadillacs and Ferraris in the points, that will give them both the chance to leapfrog them in the constructors. So yeah, that is it then for this race. Not the race I was kind of expecting it to be. It was all very tame in the end because of just how few people there were that both started and then also were, in the race by the end. I'm also a bit surprised that there weren't any full safety cars for any of those incidents, but yeah, that also just contributed to it being a little bit uneventful and sort of led to everyone being quite spaced out apart from me and Brock there near the end. And yeah, whilst we did have to make the one overtake then, it was a more straightforward podium than expected for us there. And even so, we were still like 50 seconds behind, even with the leader taking an extra pit stop there. So yeah, it's just a bit of a weird one. It's just very much a case of just getting to the end and taking whatever points were available, really. I'm sure next week we'll have a lot more people, and there'll be a lot more like on-track action. And I think I can say that quite comfortably because the next round is at Austria, a track where I think everyone enjoys it. It lends itself quite nicely to a lot of overtaking, so it should be a pretty good race. And it's also a sprint as well. Sprint rules have changed slightly from last season. It's a one-shot qualifying to decide the sprint grid, and then the sprint result decides the main grid. Yeah, that's it from me today then. Hope you enjoyed it despite it being a bit of an odd one. And yeah, as I say, I imagine next week should be a very good race all round. So, yep, thanks for tuning in for this one, and I'll see you next week then for the Austrian Grand Prix.